Welcome to Arts Beyond Museums. I'm Khan and I'm your curator for this series. Now, today Arts Beyond Museums bring you to somewhere a little bit different. This is not the kind of place that usually tourists would know. So if you're not from Singapore, you might not have heard of this place, but this is really a place to check it out. We are here today around Joo Chiat area, and behind me, these shop houses, they spell heritage. This used to be a Peranakan enclave. A lot of Peranakan businessmen made their fortunes here. And in this heritage and cultural district, there are many good food, of course, and there are also a lot of very nice and very unique boutique shops. In short, a lot of jewels yet to be found and discovered. And we're going to explore one of them today. Let's explore. You know, I really like this kind of places. It gives you that charm that you can't really describe, that kind of old school charm. And speaking of old school, look at this masterpiece painting. Now, this would very much be different from what you saw in our previous episodes. We saw the one that is of cranes, the He Tian Fu Di Tu, the one that was exhibited on the Great Wall of China. But here, since you're in an old school place, such rustic charm, I brought you something today that you might have never seen before. This is actually what we're talking about all along, masterpiece paintings. The peacock, and this is what we call a few strokes of genius, 几笔才华, and this is actually only at 68,000. And here we see the unique features of gold and silver. We see that these are the ones that the acrylic paint will glow in the dark, and these are the strokes that we're talking about. Now, sometimes when we strike a stroke of genius, like striking gold, not enough. You would like to have a few strokes of genius. When we look at the peacock rising upwards, here if you can see, it looks like an arrow, or some people will say there's an aeroplane. You have to aim for it and you fly up high for it. When you have that genius in you, you really want to go and explore and make it big. What I like about the peacock is that, unlike the cranes, the peacocks, you have a crown for it. Speaking of crowns, you might notice I'm carrying this in my hand, and since you're in the Joo Chiat area, we said let's go and do some exploring. I have with me here what we would like to simply call probably an explorer's hat. There's more technical term for it, but I'll leave it to the expert to explain. We're going to set up our gallery today here at 12 Joo Chiat Terrace at the Hat of Cain. Now, you're wondering what I'm doing in a hat shop. Me too. Let's go find out. You know, walking in this place just feels like a walk back in time, and as if I've walked into a different country or culture entirely. Look at this. This place is amazing. You have to be here to feel it. Let's not talk about hats, but it's just the interior decor. It's just stunning. A lot of historical photos, a lot of beautiful and stunning items that you must come here and see. And you know what? I found a wonderful spot for masterpiece painting. This is the newer series, not the more rustic one that I talked to you about. This is the He Tian Fu Di Tu series, Greetings to Heaven and Enrichment of Earth, number 36. And this is the series that went up to the Great Wall of China. So once again, you see, during Arts Beyond Museums, we are really bringing a lot of elements and different cultures together in one episode. I really feel that when you have masterpiece paintings at different locations, it can really bring out different perspective of the arts. The cranes probably they do not have the hats or the crowns like what the peacocks do, but what we see here, if we look closely, somehow the cranes are positioned in such a way that probably the golden peony are their crowns and are their hats. Can you see? Head of flowers. Well, speaking of hats, if you have been following Master's Facebook posts, you would realize that in many of his posts, he's actually wearing a lot of different kinds of hats, very fancy hats, all right? This kind of explorer hats, or we call the Panama hat as well. And this Hat of Cain is exactly where Master got his hats for a lot of exploring. Now, I've been walking around the Joo Chiat Terrace for a little bit, and you know what? I think I feel a little bit thirsty. And when you feel thirsty, I think it's time for some champagne. Well, when you're thirsty, you should go for Laurent-Perrier's champagne. And of course, if you want prosperity, then you should go for Master Yun's Fengshui painting. I have with me another piece of He Tian Fu Di Tu, Greetings to Heaven and Enrichment of Earth, number 11. Now, we said that this series is the one that went after the Great Wall of China. And if you still do not know, Master Yun is the first and only artist so far that has ever exhibited on the Great Wall. And Great Wall actually has a history of 3,500 years. That's simply amazing. Now, what I know about the hats in this Hat of Cain place is that every single piece is hand woven, different things coming together and becoming an art piece. Each piece is individual and special. We got to find out more about this in just a short while. But what brings me to this thing is that I find that we have been always trying to weave a lot of different elements and surprises together. For instance, champagne, French champagne. For instance, Master Yun's Feng Shui paintings. Is it a Chinese painting? Is it a modern painting? We see elements of Chinese, we see gold, we see silver. All these different elements and different cultures and different meanings weaving together into a single piece of art. Just like the hats, just like the champagne I have here, which is called Harmony. Let's try some harmony, shall we? I think today is a very happy day because I finally got someone to share Laurent-Perrier's champagne. And with me is Mr. Bill Cain. He's the founder of the Hat of Cain. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah,
thank you for sharing.
Thank you for
and
the
housing
champagne
Master Yun's art. Yeah.
Thank you.
It really
It's a
tastes
pleasure. And the
very good. Yeah.
champagne tastes fantastic.
Yes, it's fantastic. And the name is called Harmony. I was just telling them that I think all this coming together, like the hats, like the art, and the champagne, it's also a form of harmony. But could you share with us more what is the specialty about this Hat of Cain?
Okay. Well, Hat of Cain is all about Panama hats, basically.
Panama hats.
And Panama hats are actually originate from Ecuador.
Right.
They're not Panama hats. They were named Panama hats because they were traded back in the day, in the 1800s, through the Isthmus of Panama to get to the European and Eastern Seaboard hat makers. So it was more the country of trade rather than the country of origin.
Right.
They didn't have a very good export product at that time. So, but they made beautiful and they wove beautiful hoods, and they were traded up to Europe where the European hat makers would make the hats. But over the years, Ecuador has improved their hat making quality, and now they make some beautiful finished products. So now they're actually exporting directly out of Ecuador.
Right. So the hats that you have here, they are all hand woven from Ecuador.
Every Panama hat is individually woven, so they're all handmade. So there's no two hats that are the same. Everyone is different, and there's different types of weaves and different grades of weaves that will determine the price of the hat because of the complexity of how it's been woven.
I see. So we have some hats here.
Yes.
I suppose these are some special hats of this place that if they come to Hat of Cain at 12 Joo Chiat Terrace, they should see this.
Yes, of course. What we try to do is educate people along the way, and it's harmony. It's just bringing together. It's like Master Yun and his artwork. It's a matter of explaining and having an understand of what you're seeing.
Really, yes.
Because it's just not just a product. It is a handmade piece of art in itself.
Yes.
Okay. So Panama hats start at all price range and levels, and you can get them very, very affordable for just over $100. So they're very, very reasonable in price. But as you go to the different types of hats and the complexity of how to make them, it becomes a little bit more pricey. So they're woven all over the countryside. There is no one particular factory that makes hats. There are companies that finish the hats, but the weaving is left to the village people. And in those village people, you usually have a grand master who is a master and is the one who makes the finest and tightest and makes the most beautiful hats.
A very traditional way of artisan craftsmanship then.
It is very much so, and it's also a bit endangered. So
Right.
UNESCO has actually gone in there and has started to protect the tradition of weaving, and so they are putting a lot of effort into training, making sure that the masters are training younger people.
So what we have here, while they are hats, they are also actually a form of culture as well.
Yes, very much so.
If we don't do this, then it might just be gone.
Yes.
And it would be a great pity.
It would be. It would be a shame. So I buy all the hats. So, it's just something when you find a passion like art or anything to that, a good bottle of champagne, you need to really promote it.
Yes.
And that's what we're doing. We're educating more and more people about Panama hats. Singapore, as an example, is an incredible place to have Panama hats.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask as well. Like Panama is all the way in the Americas and Ecuador as well. So Singapore is all the way here. How does this hat thing, how does this hat culture come hand in hand with Singapore?
Well, if you go back into history, everyone in Singapore used to wear white suits and wear hats.
Yeah.
It is a country of eternal summer.
Yes.
So it's the ideal weather to wear Panama hats and shade you from the sun. Also, if you drill a hole straight through the ground, you'll end up in Ecuador. Ecuador is on the same latitude. It's just on the absolute opposite end of the world to Singapore.
We pretty much share the same weather then.
Very much so.
Right. You know, Singapore's weather, when they wear a hat like this, it's cooling, it blocks the sun. Does it apply like this?
Well, it is lightweight.
Uh-huh.
A lot of hats that you find in stores are usually made of a synthetic material.
Right.
And usually made by a machine, which requires more thread and everything else. So at the end of the day, they're usually a little bit heavier. Straw hat is very lightweight.
Yes, it is.
And the material is breathable, so that it's really a comfortable piece of headgear. And of course, it shades you from the sun.
It shades you from the sun. I think it's very important. I was just walking around Joo Chiat Terrace like, oh my god,
hot.
I should have gotten a hat from you before I did my scenes outside. It was very hot.
You have seen Master Yun's heavenly feng shui paintings, but have you seen his feng shui calligraphies? Master Yun has been recognized as the founding father of feng shui arts, feng shui painting, and feng shui calligraphy. The first time when feng shui calligraphies were ever exhibited was on the Great Wall of China. Speak with us to find out your choices for selectable feng shui calligraphies today.
Yeah. So what's the difference of the hats that we have here?
Okay, so I brought down a few samples here. So this is what we call an entry-level hat.
Okay.
And the way you can judge the type of hat or the quality of the hat is if you look at the just take one line and you can see the number of folds in a linear inch.
Right.
So they start at grade 3 and 2 and 3 and go all the way up to something like this, which is about a 30 grade.
Oh, the grade can go to 30.
30 and beyond. So, and that will take longer to make. So what you do here is you can count the number of folds per linear inch. So this is not an exact science, but it is a way for the traders who trade the hoods, because they go all around the countryside to buy them, to fair trade and fair pay the weavers.
To determine.
So
this is much finer, I can see.
So this one here, I'm just going to show you a few samples. So this is an entry-level Panama hat.
How much might this be going for?
That's about 150.
150.
And then you go to something like this, and you can see the beautiful artistry in the hat.
Yes.
And I want to also mention that you can always tell a Panama hat by the little rosebud right at the center of the crown. And every hat starts with at least 8 or 9 strands of straw, and they weave the hat out. Then, of course, people ask, can you do color? They can actually make any color of hat you like. So I've chosen this one because red is always good luck.
Yes, red is good luck.
And it's a beautiful, beautiful hat, and these are all unisex hats. Both men and women can wear them.
Both men and women can have Panama hats. And is this the top selling item during Chinese New Year?
It is very popular, yes.
Throughout the year. I think everyone needs prosperity throughout the year. I think this should be an all season, top selling thing. And this is very fine as well if I look at the weaving.
That's about a grade 8.
A grade 8. And how much will a grade 8 red hat like this cost?
About 250.
250. There's not much difference from...
No, from that.
This is better.
Yeah.
You should get this. Yeah, you should get this. You should get this, have Laurent-Perrier champagne, and take a photo of Master Yun's painting at the same time. It would be a perfect harmony.
The real king of hats are the Finos, and this is these hats are woven predominantly down in the Manabí, Monte Cristi area of Ecuador, and it has its own type of weave. It's called a Monte Cristi.
Okay.
And this is one example of this. Master Yun himself has 2 of these hats, which are beautifully woven hats.
Master Yun has many hats, and this is one of them.
This is one of them.
Okay.
And this is 100% hand woven all the way down to the very end of the brim. The only thing that is machined on it is when they sew this band on the inside.
Right.
Other than that, it's 100% handmade, no machine work whatsoever except blocking it.
And this design, it's spectacular.
It's beautiful. It's almost like lace. And no 2 hats are the same.
No 2 hats are the same.
If I pulled 4 of them out, they'd all have a different pattern. And that's what makes them so incredibly beautiful.
And I read that there's a great history behind this Panama hat. Teddy Roosevelt was behind it as well?
Yes, when he was down inaugurating, that again would be too small for you, way too small. When he was down inaugurating the construction of the Panama Canal, there was a famous picture, and there's one right over on the side of the wall there, where he's holding up his hat, and the Washington Post says, "Here's Teddy Roosevelt and his Panama hat."
Okay.
And it just stuck. So
presidential approval.
So that's where the Panama hat really came. But Panama does not make hats.
Right, it's Ecuador who weaves it. Yeah. I'm curious, Bill. How do you get involved with hats? We know that you founded Hat of Cain in 2012, but what was the passion? Like, what's the motivation behind all of this?
A couple of things. One, I wanted to segue into out of the corporate environment to something that is more calm.
Right.
More looking for harmony, so to speak. And I couldn't find a Panama hat in Asia. And when I went anywhere, there are very few real good hat shops where you are welcomed and you're educated and you're told about hats.
Right.
And I couldn't find that. So I decided that we wanted to remain in Singapore and remain in Asia. So I needed to find something that would be a bit of a niche. And since no one was doing Panama hats here, I took the leap of faith and started my own business, brought in 69 hats, and just started by word of mouth. And we've grown quite a bit over the last several years.
So you're living the dream then?
I'm living the dream.
You're living the dream.
Drinking
hobby.
Champagne, drinking champagne, meeting wonderful people, delivering a beautiful product to them. There is a hat for everyone.
There is a hat for everyone. I like that thing. I like that phrase.
Yeah. So my mission is to rid the world of baseball caps and flip-flops and do it one hat at a time. So so that's basically the passion.
We should cheers to that.
Oh, cheers to that.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for dropping by today and sharing this, and Master Yun's art.
Cheers. What a day it has been. I mean, you see, every single week we go to different places and have art beyond museum with Master Yun's feng shui paintings. And today, I learned something about the hats. It's not that simple. It's actually an art piece, hand woven, long historical and cultural knowledge, this has really been a fruitful day. Just like this painting here, it's called 夏日的果, Summer Berries. One of the more rustic paintings per se, that is not the Crane series, it's one of the more older series that has the peacock on it. Will Master Yun paint peacock again? I am not too sure, but at least we know here that we see the gold and silver forms the entire tree of the summer. And here we have, as if some people are saying that it's like two people hugging or two people praying beneath the tree, and all this are the summer berries. I think my day has been a day of very good harvest, summer berries, of great harmony with Panama hats and Master Yun's Feng Shui painting, great Laurent-Perrier champagne. Cheers to that.
The Art Beyond Museums series and Master Yun Longzi's Feng Shui art are proud to be sponsored by Laurent-Perrier. For 200 over years, Laurent-Perrier has not worked with any other artist before. When you purchase a piece of Feng Shui art exhibited in this Art Beyond Museums series, you will also be getting a complimentary set of 5 different specially selected cuvées of Laurent-Perrier champagne: the La Cuvée, the Cuvée Rosé, Brut Millésime, Demi-Sec Harmony, and the Cuvée Grand Siècle, so that you can enjoy the taste of elegance while basking in the prosperity of Master Yun's Feng Shui paintings and calligraphies. Cheers to prosperity and elegance.